good morning. It's Jolie Morton, Jolie Gabrielle, and John Drew, and we are Elevated Planet. And today we are having our live flying by the seat of our pants, so you never know what you just might walk into. So, John, take it away.
Welcome to everybody. Thank you, Jolie. We've had a bit of a change of format this time around because we've done the story to a degree anyway. I mean, you'll be able to read much more of it in the book when it comes out, but at least for the first three live things, we talked about how Elevated Planet came to be. So now we're going to expand into more conscious awareness kind of thing, which is really what Elevated Planet is about. It's about bringing joy to people by helping people to realize what this is really all about. What is this human experience really all about? You know, and again, the thing that I always emphasize is that this is my version of the truth. Jolie's is her version of the truth. We don't ask people to accept at face value our version of the truth. But as a mainstreamer of 5 years ago, I kind of realized how I would have listened to this 5 years ago. So I completely honor the fact that many people will listen to certain aspects of this and consider it deluded nonsense, and that's fine. But we're planting seeds, if nothing else. And I know that there's a lot of people out there as well who are on their own journeys and understanding, building an understanding of what Jolie and I would accept as truth, if you like. So what we're hoping is that during this process that we can create some thought around this and that it gives us a little bit of conversation, a little bit of dialogue. The first thing we're going to do this time around, we're going to go to another video. So the reason we're doing this is because this talks to a lot of the things that Elevated Planet has been banging on about for nearly 2 years now. So we've got edition 50 coming out tomorrow. Once we get to edition 52, that's 2 completed years of weekly emails. So we're nearly at the anniversary. So we've been putting information out there for a long time. And what we now are looking to do is to bring in third-party kind of aspects that present a picture that we can then talk to. And then Jolie will give us her guided meditation, which again will support part of the conversation that we're talking about. So that is the plan. Any other thoughts on that, Jolie?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, this first video that we're going to look at is a result of a near-death experience, not a non-death experience, a near-death experience. And it's by a gentleman called Gary Wimmer. I don't know whether he still lives in Austin, Texas, but he's certainly from over there. And, you know, it's a fascinating story. And what I love about this, it's about 20 minutes long, but it covers off a lot of aspects about what actually happened to him back in 1977, at a time when, as you will hear, he was hit by a speeding car. But the stuff that led up to that was also very important, and that he's brought out a bunch of successful books. It's a fascinating account, and I'm really looking forward to bringing this to you to forward our discussion from there. So without further ado.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for joining me. I heard you had a near-death experience. Can we hear about it?
Yes, I did, and I'm honored to be with you. I really appreciate the opportunity. This happened when I was 29, 1977. I was traveling a lot in a band, had to take some time off the road, quit the band. But that evening when I went back to my apartment, a little duplex with my roommates, within about an hour of talking, I started feeling what other people were going to ask and say. I went to sleep that night, or tried to. I couldn't sleep at all. My mind was racing like never before. My roommate came walking in, reading the morning newspaper, and I saw the headlines through his eyes. I walked down to the store about a couple hours later, and everybody I passed on the sidewalk, I could feel what they were thinking about. Unsolicited. It was bizarre. But at the same time, I felt this protection. I felt these guardian angels. I felt something was watching over me. They seemed to name themselves the monitors. I never saw them, except one time, which I'll explain. But I kept feeling them. Then all of a sudden, I felt this real warmth around me, just millisecond. What? Opened my eyes, and there's this huge light shining down on me. It looked like a spotlight. And I thought, wow, if I had a ladder, I could touch it. It's 6 feet up above me. It was physical. I could see it. And I looked around at all these people watching me, and none of them acknowledged this huge light coming down. I couldn't understand it, but I didn't care. I looked back up at the light. Then it appeared as a crystal table about this thick. And as I looked through it, I saw these palms of these 7 monitors, these 7 beings looking down at me, and those lights coming down through their hands, and I was just amazed. Fear had just instantly vaporized. They were in white robes. Their faces kind of looked like gray, like they weren't male or female, as if to say our faces don't matter. It's our presence. And they said, "Do you trust us?" I said, "Well, of course. I mean, you're the monitors. You're the guys I've been feeling for." "Yes, do you trust us?" "Yeah, but I don't understand what's going on." "Do you trust us?" One voice, 7 of them. Pedestrians and people who had been watching me or watching me talk to something, as far as they concerned, ain't there. It was the most real thing I've ever seen. A second or two, I was involved in a head-on collision with the speeding car. Bam, got hit, tumbling over the car. All of a sudden, I'm outside my body. And I'm watching it get tumbled over by the car, but I felt this certain sort of detachment, almost humor. Well, if that's me, that's just what goes on in life. And I'm expanding outside the car in all directions like a balloon, not like an arrow, but like a balloon. I saw an accident. I saw the whole city of Austin, Texas, a little dot. I saw the whole earth contract within inside me because I'm expanding. Now my body's down there on Guadalupe Street, people hollering, screaming, and freaking out. Planets, galaxies, it's expanding bigger and bigger and bigger. Went through the solar system, went through the whole universe, got to the edge of the universe, went outside of it. And in the book, I described what I felt like was a level of consciousness that I call the colors, seemed to name itself that. It's a level of consciousness that when we come in at birth, we go through this level of the colors that gives us the ability to use our natural human senses and brain to understand who we are and where we came from. We get to choose whether to do that or not. But I'm expanding beyond this. I went through the colors. I went to the edge of the universe. I felt like I was popped out of it, and it was a starry sky, and there's infinite universes, and that's the one I came out of. And then this whole infinite universes rolled up kind of like a tunnel of light. And it's really a good explanation. And I felt like I was shot through it and came out on the other side. But by this time, I had no awareness of me. It was pure sensation. Awareness of me stopped about the time I saw my body tumbling over the car and start expanding. And I was in this blue infinite void that was unbelievably peaceful and beautiful. And it was infinite mind. And one of the many, many things I realized, and this is the most important one, infinite mind is completely unlimited. Nothing can constrain it, control it. It's all possibilities over all time and space, either manifested physically or not. But there's no limitation, and there's nothing that can pose a limitation on it. And it's completely unbiased. It has no bias. And either it existed, which it does, and everything exists, or it wouldn't have existed and nothing would exist. There's no in between, either infinite or nothing. Guess which happened? Infinite. I feel like I was at one with it. It was the most beautiful experience. Seeing the creation, seeing different universes, seeing different free wills, wishes, hopes, plans, seeing the interconnectedness between thought, visualization, manifestation, free will, infinite time, infinite space. I could go on and on and on. It was like you just grok it. You just get it. You don't, doesn't have to be in English or anything. You just understand it because you're part of it. And all of a sudden I realized, maybe I'm not part of it. Maybe I'm observing it. And I was pulled back through this tunnel of light and back into this universe and started collapsing into time and space. Had no idea who I was or where I was going, but I was a little apprehensive. Where I was pretty nice. The closer I got to this solar system and then to Earth, I started seeing all these flashcards, these pictures on spinning newspapers. They came in 3 series. The first series was what we're going through now. I saw 9/11, I saw COVID-19, I saw global warming. I saw, which I couldn't even imagine at that time, this carnage in the country. Nobody in 1977 walked around with AK-47. You know, I saw that and I couldn't believe it. I said, no, that's got to be a hallucination. Nope, I'm not trying to freak people out. I'm trying to say we're going through a big, big change. And there's a reason for it. And I saw this because I saw all the craziness, all the confusion in the first series of pictures. The second series of pictures were the 1,000 Years of Peace, exploring space, solving a lot of our problems, that we are headed that direction. It's a clumsy road. We got a long ways to go. That's idealized love, space, technology, no hatred. Where we are now is chaos. So there's a big gap between where we are and where we're headed. The third set of pictures was about me. And then all of a sudden I see my body and I jump back into my body, kind of like home. Well, it was the middle of a Guadalupe Street and people are screaming and hollering, and the driver, the first thing I noticed is long red hair hanging all over my face. And this driver's leaning over me screaming, man, I tried to stop, I couldn't stop it, and then I hope you're freaking out. Well, I just been to heaven and back. I felt no pain, nothing. I felt great, although a little eerie. I jumped to my feet and he kept trying to grab me and put me down and hold me. He said, you're in shock. No, I'm not in shock. You're hurt. No, I'm not hurt, you know. How do you know? Didn't want to explain. So I kind of shoved him away. Tried to ask these other people if they'd seen this monitors and everything. Everybody's not worried about that. They're worried about how the hell you got hit by a speeding car and you jumped right to your feet and talking like nothing happened. And within 5 minutes, I was going to go home. Okay, nobody's hurt. I'll just walk home. I heard the sirens and people saying, no, stay here till you talk to the police and the cops. And okay, yeah. So a couple minutes later, the police and cops and the ambulance came and asked me what happened. Boy, did that open a can of worms. As soon as I tried to explain why I wasn't hurt and what happened, they couldn't believe it at all. And of course, I wouldn't have either. You know, all the witnesses saw was me talking to something, getting hit by a car, just jumping to my feet right after that and started talking to them like nothing happened. And I tried to explain to the cops and the ambulance and well, they couldn't let me walk home. Like nobody could understand what I was saying, and I wouldn't have believed me either, to be honest with you. Anyway, they took me to the hospital, x-rayed me, wasn't hurt at all, no damage at all. There was a guy that walked in from the emergency room, and I knew him. I'd had premonitions about him. I knew his name, knew where he went to school. He was a psychiatrist. He starts asking me what happened. I started explaining it, and he said, I've heard about this, never seen anybody that's gone through this. I said, you are now. He asked me a couple of questions, and I explained to him about some personal things with he and his son and rearranging the furniture last week and his wife not liking the cutting down the floor space. He said, how did you know that? I said, I know everything. I knew his name. I could tap into anything. The thing is, I couldn't turn it off. That's what had freaked me out. It was enjoyable, but it was too much. And so he finally said, look, we're going to have to commit you to a psychiatric hospital. You know, what you're saying, what you're acting like, we just can't let you just walk home, And my attitude was sort of, no problem. I don't care. I just been to heaven, man. I can't. I felt like these people were grounding agents. The cops, police, ambulance, emergency room, put me in a 10-day mandatory commitment to a psychiatric hospital here. I didn't resist at all. All the patients are calling me Mr. Smiles. I'm happy all the time. I'm playing piano for them. I'm entertaining. I spent 10 days there, and at the end of 10 days, the psychiatrists all get together. They talk to me, and they decide whether I'm going to have to stay another 10 days or I'm Okay. And I said, look, I know you folks don't believe what I went through, but I'm not changing my story. You're a psychiatrist. You ought to study this. Look at the record. I didn't even get a scratch, didn't get hurt, knew I wouldn't. If you can find a better theory than I got, I'm all ears.
Why do you think that happened to you?
It's a very good question. And that's the one thing I did not know for a while. From the moment that happened to this day, there's no way I can deny what happened. But I did ask over and over and over, why me? Why me? Why me, universe? No complaints. The most beautiful experience anybody could ever have. 8 months later, I was sitting out on my porch playing my guitar. Again, I'm asking why I got this beautiful experience. And all of a sudden, I felt these guides, the monitors, were near me. I didn't see them, but they shot a beam of light in my head like a laser. And at the same time, they started speaking in that same one deep James Earl voice, low, deep voice. They started explaining this at the same time I was reading it in my mind, like trailer at a movie, the end of a movie, the credits disappearing in the distance, rolling out. And they basically said, you had this experience because you wanted it. You were always curious. You wanted to know. You asked. You were always learning. You were studying psychic ability, reading education, modern philosophy. You're doing everything you can to expand your knowledge. And so we took you. We showed you. We brought you back. You could handle the truth. Moral of the story, folks, ask questions. Period. Ask and you shall receive. You don't get everything, but the more you ask and the more you ask your guide to help you and the more you expand your consciousness and your umbilical cord that we all have between ourselves and infinite mind. Everybody's got a unique one. But also, there's only one place we came from, infinite mind, and only one place to return to, infinite mind. Everything in between that is a experience in separateness in some form or another. So I feel like the luckiest person on the planet because of the experience and because they finally told me why I had it. Never occurred to me, curiosity.
So people are going to ask, what are some images that you saw that haven't come true yet?
I saw over the next 100 years, and there are so many images I saw so quickly that oftentimes I don't recognize them until I see the incident. I can't lay out for certainty exactly what's going to happen when. There was so much information so fast. We can't change the chaos the world's going through now. And the reason we're going through it, one simple reason. We all have to see the holes in the boat, the flaws in ourselves and in our systems before we can fix them. We're going through this period in time, not by accident, but by it's the opportunity that life is giving us to see what needs to be fixed so we can fix it. We get to pay attention and heed the call or ignore it. Humans have free will, and we can decide whether to pay attention, grow, evolve, use that opportunity, or to ignore it. It's that simple. Choice, choice, choice. And I always say the most powerful thing in human nature is free will, because we get to choose how we see things, how we perceive things. It ain't our situation. It's how we perceive it. Because how we perceive it, how we look at it, means how we're going to act and react. And either make it worse or better, or move out of Dodge, or make a change, or not.
Do you think everyone has psychic ability?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So in spite of all the chaos we're going through, I really do encourage people to, not freak out. The world is going through a big change. We're part of it. Don't freak out. Don't limit yourself on how much power and light you can bring to yourself as a protection. But if you don't put a raincoat on and you walk outside, you're going to get wet.
Right.
One thing I definitely suggest to people is, first of all, there's unlimited potential in our mind, soul, heart. There's no limit to how much we can grow spiritually and psychically and mentally. I became aware of that in a split second in 1977. I never even thought about it. But when I touched infinite mind, it felt like I was there for infinity and came back to Earth only a second later, but having gone through one of the most incredible experiences ever. So yeah, I realized from that moment forward, our power, our psychic and spiritual emotional power, we gain it, we grow, not to get a gold star from God, but to make stuff work better in life, here, now, with us, with ourselves, with relationships. Example, 12 years ago, I was looking for my keys, had an appointment, frantically going from one room to the next, pulling drawers out. And then I went, this is nuts. This frantic searching is not going to find my keys. I've been at it for 10 minutes, no closer. So I thought, okay, higher mind, synapses in my brain, soul guides, y'all get together, just kind of pull me to the keys. It'd be a lot easier. It's a win-win. This ain't working. I didn't know if it would work or not, but I knew if I didn't try it and give it a shot, I'd never know, right? So I went from my office back into the kitchen, poured myself a cup of coffee, and looked over, and there's my damn keys. I put them on the microwave, I guess, and they fell off, and I picked them up. And as I've told other people, the first thing I felt when I picked them up is this. The keys kind of said to me, because I talk to my guides, and I ask them to talk to me all the time. The keys said, well, Gary, we can't walk, but your system works. Think about it. I'm 75. I'm kind of disabled. I can barely walk sometimes, and I certainly don't need to go walk around and look for stuff. So every time I'm missing something, I just think about it. And within 5 minutes a day, before I frantically need it, it appears. Why shouldn't life work that way? Why shouldn't we be able to get that power? Personally, I'd like to have the power to heal the world, but I can't stop war. We can only do our part. But if we do our part, we're doing the most important part. And I encourage people all the time to open up to your infinite mind. That's why we're going through all these changes now. See, humankind's not being tortured, it's being slapped in the face. Wake up. It all starts inside. Love yourself. Forgive yourself. Liberate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. That's how I learned to play the piano. In 3 years, I practiced 12 to 14 hours every day. And I'd pat myself on the back at noon, because what I started practicing at 10 o'clock, now I could do. So yeah, it makes your efficiency better. It's never how hard we work in life. It's how smart, it's how wise, it's how creative, it's how open-minded, it's how inspired, it's how virtuous, it's how true to our core values. Have hearts, have soul, folks. Believe you can climb that mountain, ask for help, and don't be surprised if you start climbing that mountain.
Watched one of your interviews and you said you did psychic readings, and I asked you if you would give me a reading, and you did, and it was great. How do people get in contact with you if they want a reading or want to learn more about your experience?
Visit my website, GaryWimmer.com, lithomancy.com. You'll find me.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that. I found this one the other day, and I shared it with Jolay, because it really does talk to so many different points. That was an amazing experience. Now, some people might discard it as fantasy, but, I think that we also have psychic senses, but we also have a sense that tells us when you are experiencing integrity and truth. So for me, that's what I feel that we're witnessing there. And I know, Jolay, you felt the same.
Correct. I do. I think that's a powerful message that he has to deliver, and a gift.
Yeah, exactly. So I scribbled a few things down here from before when listening to this, to sort of like as points of discussion going forward. Now, one of the things he talks about is that when he was going through his near-death experience is the interconnectedness of all, because we're here on the planet for an individuated experience, but we are all part of the same energy. We all came from the same source. We all ultimately return to the same source. So we are interconnected. And we've talked about this from a scientific perspective as well, explaining that we are just literally the human frame, the human body, and everything around us is just a mixture of waves and particles, right? And we are a vast amount of waves relative to particles, and you cannot separate waves. waves are always interconnected. So even from a scientific view perspective, we are all one. We are all interconnected. And certainly the first of the 12 universal laws is the law of divine oneness, which tells us that everything is connected. So that's one of the things. So we talked about that recently within the weeklies. And, you know, that's one of the things that is a difficult one to get your head around, because when you hear having the human experience as an immortal spirit having a human experience, the veil of forgetfulness drops at birth, and we do not realize that. As far as we're concerned, we're out there on our own. We're all alone. And yes, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got this, but you know, in your community. But the reality is, it's much, much closer than that. And that's the strange thing about it. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about within this as well, he talks about a big, big change and the need to wake up. And again, Elevated Planet, the reason it exists is to help with the Great Awakening. That's why every weekly has that on the title, is, you know, Elevated Planet and the Great Awakening. This is really what this is about, because we are going to go through some changes, and it is going to become a very difficult time from an experiential perspective. He talks about the chaos that is going on right now, and we see it. Now, imagine that escalating and escalating more and escalating more. I do get it from, for instance, if you listen to the best of the astrologers out there, they're talking about 2025 as a real key point of conflict, if you like. And Chris Stiles from 365 Pin Code, from a numerology perspective, he also talks about, you know, 25, 26, 27, all the way through to 2030 as the years of revelation, where things really become far more apparent. And talking about revelation, of course, this big, big change was in the Bible as well. Now, I say this as a non-religious person who's never fully read the Bible. In fact, very, very little of it, truth be told. But again, through the studies of the last 5 years, you learn all these different facets of what it brings you. And part of it, the book of Revelation, which was written by John, chapters 21 and 22, talks about the new earth. It talks about this time that we are basically going through now. So it's in the Bible. Nostradamus talked about it at length, which he called the time of troubles, because quite often what happens is that it needs a crisis to force people outside of their comfort zone and force people to consider their the alternatives and how to approach circumstances. Gary said a very interesting thing here. We get to choose our perception, is what he said, which decides how we act or react. Perception is very important, because you can look at something and be steeped in fear, or you can look at something and you can kind of realize that sometimes negative events happen because they are an evolutionary catalyst. They are breaking the old ways because they have to break. And it might be a political system, it might be a financial system, it might be actual conflict. It could be a whole bunch of systems breaking down. And, you know, one of the things that's interesting when I look at this as well is that I've gone through a bunch of these videos. I mean, there are thousands of near-death experience videos out there, and many of them have very similar experiences, not identical, because again, I do believe that we do create our own reality. And so sometimes where people go and what they experience is based on their version of reality. So everybody is different. And the way I see it is that, you know, a lot of these do show conflict. And there's one that I am going to put on the weekly tomorrow, which does talk about conflict. It talks about effectively the people, the population versus the government and government forces. It's actual complete breakdown. Now, that was the vision that she saw. But one of the things that I believe, including the Nostradamus predictions, is really all about that what people see are possible timelines. They don't see absolute truth because, as Jole's often said to me, the future is written in pencil. But it's how we react, how we respond. And the whole thing about this Great Awakening is it brings us into heart-based consciousness. that it brings us to a place, a more elevated place, which means we don't drop into fear. It may look pretty horrible, and it may be so, but the fact is, you can look at it and say, oh, look, there's an evolutionary catalyst for us. So, but it's kind of one of these things. It can be fairly chaotic. But and another thing he mentioned was 1,000 years of peace. 1,000 years of peace was one of the headlines that came on these little spinning newspapers as he was coming back down towards Earth. 1,000 years of peace. I've read about that a number of times, and that's what's supposed to follow this era as we get into the age of Aquarius, as we get into the age of the golden race. That we have 1,000 years of peace, and there is the great genius, as he is known, that is one of the first that steps forward to kind of build things out, and he is the one that again is the catalyst for the change into a magnificent future. And that is, I mean, I've got so many things written down here. I mean, I could keep going on and on, but one of the things I wanted to talk to you about here, Joe, the other thing before he went into being hit by the speeding car, what he'd experienced that morning as a one-off, like it had never happened to him before, was all of a sudden this onrush of psychic abilities. But he also said we all have psychic abilities. Now, given your history and background throughout life, how do you feel about that?
He's absolutely right. But most of the time we're so afraid of that, that we don't pay any attention to it. For instance, I can remember being a child and always seeing things out of the corner of my eyes, or sometimes seeing things that weren't there. But years and years of that, you just kind of, or seeing orbs or seeing colors. I can remember this as a kid. But after years and years of putting it to the side or asking people, what are you talking about? You'll lose some of the ability of you being able to connect with whatever strings to different worlds or universes, or what could be right here, an eyelash away from you, that because of the veils, we no longer have access to. So I truly believe that we all have psychic abilities. I mean, I can remember being 12, like very young, my psychic abilities kicked in, but they'll make you crazy or to appear as if you don't fit in because you have no frame of reference for what is coming in, right? So today, I would love to show how to begin to access that, to first focus that energy, first recognize you have it, right? Then work with it by putting it back together so you can focus this energy, being neutral, so that once you get psychic hits, you're not reading your own energy, you're actually getting that interconnectedness.
Right.
It's starting to talk to you. That's all it does, is once you know how to tune in or tap into that love, it's all it is love, you know, it starts to then give you the information that you need to sort of help you. He talked about that. Once you start expanding the mind and you realize you have free will and you start to develop that, all of a sudden things start to come into alignment.
That's brilliant. Yeah, and we're going to do a meditation, or you're going to do a guided meditation on that for us very shortly. I was just going to just saw here that Janet has been reaching out to us this afternoon. So good afternoon to you too, Janet. Wonderful that you're back with us again this week. And she says, what an amazing man. We are all one, and it's so comforting. So again, Janet, you get it. You understand? And she also says, she never worry about change or chaos. Worry leads to fear. Fear is negative vibration. We have to learn, evolve, and grow in love.
That brilliant, like you say. We couldn't say it any better, huh? Can we say it any better than that?
Janet is one of us.
Yeah.
Grateful to have you. Yeah, grateful to have you here with us, Janet. So, Jolie, I mean, I've got so many points I want to cover off, but we just do not have time. We do not have time this week to cover these things off, and I can put some more stuff out on the weekly tomorrow. But for now, how do you feel about going into this meditation then to?
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do for the next 20 or so minutes is just teach us how to tap into our psychic energy by, like I say, bringing or remembering and bringing back into balance our soul architecture. So this will be the foundation or the building blocks of how we can tap into our psychic energy. So to begin, if you can just connect with your breath as you put your feet flat on the floor and your palms face up. Now you could be sitting or lying down for this meditation, but if you are lying down, please keep your feet flat on the floor for the first few minutes of the meditation. Because what we like to do is ground our energy into Mother Earth. Now, why do we want to do this? Because it keeps us connected to reality as well as the power in the present moment, because that is all that we have is the present moment. We no longer have the past, and we are working to build the future by staying present and in our bodies. So as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, figure out how you breathe. Do you like to hold your breath? Is your breath shallow? Does it go deep into your stomach? Don't worry about trying to fix it or do something different other than recognize how you breathe and bring it into rhythm. And now once you're breathing in a rhythm, you're going to command, it's your body, your energy, for your heartbeat to sync up with your breath. Now, this doesn't mean that each breath is a heartbeat. It just means that there's music being made or there's a rhythm between your breathing and the beating of your heart, which then is going to bring your body into balance and into stasis, magnetizing optimal health. So continue to breathe, and I want you to bring your awareness to your chest cavity or your heart chakra, anahata. And here, I want you to create, visualize, or imagine a beautiful grounding cord or cord of a natural earth element. And it is going to be connected at the anahata or the heart chakra. It's going to be 6 inches in diameter. Now, this is all energetic. So just command it to be so. And then it starts to create itself. For me, it begins to put itself together. It could look like hatches or check marks or lines, or it could just be particles or waves that come together and begin to create this beautiful grounding cord that can be a tree trunk, a rope, a cave, a tunnel of light, a water, quartz crystal as it comes together and it moves down through the floor, down through Mother Earth's crust, down through the lithosphere. It begins to pick up speed as it moves down through the earth, through the asthenosphere, as it roots itself into the core of Mother Earth, and it grows roots. This is a part of your soul architecture, your grounding cord. Feel it. Receive the nurturing energy from Mother Earth and all of her messages. As you're grounded and you're rooted into Mother Earth, I hear you go, I can't hear anything. It's all right. It's an energy. Root yourself into it as you breathe normally with the rhythm of your body and your heartbeat is synced to your breath. Now, this grounding cord needs cleaning off. So I want you to visualize, imagine, and create golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles to blanket the inside and the outside of your grounding cord. Golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles, blanketing the inside and the outside of your grounding cord, all the way to those roots. And if your roots have any hairs, they go on these hairs too, cleaning it out, just like a washing machine, just pumping, scrubbing off any disease, any illness, anything you're ready to let go of and release anybody else's energy. It's scrubbing it off of there. Just let it do its job as you breathe with the rhythm of your body and your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. Take a deep breath in, exhale, as you visualize, generate, or create a golden sun above your head. This golden sun represents positive life force energy. And because nature abhors a vacuum, that means that all of the stuff that we are moving and cleaning and resolving has got to be replaced by divine life force energy, or replaced with something. And so we would choose for it to be divine life force energy, which is represented by a golden sun. This golden sun above your head is going to be replacing the energy that we are removing from that grounding cord. So now bring your awareness to your heart as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, knowing your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. You're going to now allow for all of these golden rose-shaped scrubbing bubbles to fall away, down or slide down your grounding cord into the core of Mother Earth. They sizzle and become creative life force energy for anyone to use. As you open the crown of your head like you would the lens of a camera, and that golden sun comes down, moving down the center of your head, then it comes down that spine and that neck, coming down the chest, and then in the heart chakra, it starts to expand as it then cascades down your grounding cord, bringing you into the present moment. And it's cleaning and clearing that grounding cord and filling it with both light. Watch this essence cascade all the way down the grounding cord as it moves through the lithosphere, through the asthenosphere at the speed of light, to the roots, and any access into Mother Earth. Now, bring your awareness back to your heart chakra as you breathe. We have what is known as an aura layers. Now, the chakras spin and they create an energy field around our body. One spins, it creates the closest layer to our body, two, so on and so forth, which creates our personal space. And we know when somebody enters our aura layer, they're too close, we back up because this is our own personal space. But oftentimes people put their energy, their expectations, their judgments, and their criticisms in our personal space. And we become clouded. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we pull this aura layer in so that it's our own, 1.5 feet around us. That means 18 inches above and below us, to the right, to the left of us, and to the front and to the back of us, as we sit in it, perfectly centered in our own energy. And as you get acquainted with your aura layer and you adjust yourself to being in the center of it, I just want to gently remind you, as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, that your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. You are grounded from a place of love into the core of Mother Earth with a grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, clean, clear, and filled with gold light, bringing you into the present moment. The crown of your head is open and ready to receive messages from the divine. As you are adjusting your aura layer to sit in the center of it. And now that we are sitting in the center of our aura layer, we have what is known as a higher self. Most of the time, this is moved out of the way, and we allow for our guru, our teacher, our reverend, our minister, our priest to fulfill the job of our own higher self. So now what we're going to do is we're going to call our higher self back to sit above our head. You just command, higher self, Jolie Gabrielle's higher self, I'd like you to sit at a comfortable distance above my head. Now, you say your own name, no Jolie Gabrielle for you. And I understand there can be some doubt here. Move the doubt out. Right now, we are putting back together our own soul architecture so that we can access our highest self and engage our psychic energy. So allow for your higher self to sit at a comfortable distance above your head. Your belief is what is important right now, your imagination. Tap into it. Call your higher self above you. Sit at 2 feet above your head. That's too close for me. I can feel like a tingling on my crown. It's heat. Push it up 4 feet. For me, that's still a little too close. I can feel heaviness sitting above my head. If you're like, I can't feel anything, no worries. Pop it up 10 feet. Mine, this is where mine sits, 10 feet above my head, directly above my crown, so I can receive those messages, and my higher self can receive the messages from the universe. Yours may need to sit 20 feet above your head. Maybe yours sits right on top, but take a moment. Call your higher self back above you. Stop the rhetoric in your head and just focus on connecting with your higher self, calling that energy back above your head. To sit in the lotus position or to stand, however you need it to show up for you to tap into your power. So I just want to gently remind you again, as you're breathing with the rhythm of your body, that your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. You're sitting in the center of your chest, your heart chakra, rooted and grounded into Mother Earth, with a grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, clean, clear, filled with gold light. Your higher self sits at a comfortable distance above your head, and your aura layer is 1.5 feet around you as you sit in the center of it, perfectly aligned. We also have what is known as an astral body. And this helps us solve our problems, but it does so when we are sleeping. And sometimes when we're daydreaming, we're not in our bodies, we're going off and we're envisioning, imagining things and trying to solve our problems. We can work with our astral body, and we can ask this to help us solve our problems and to do some information gathering while we're sleeping. So before you go to bed, you can say, hey, astral body, I need more money. I need to get a good score on this test. Please go out and find the information that I need, or help me remove these blocks that are getting in the way of my highest good. Now, this astral body is connected to your physical body with a silver string that's unlimited, that allows you to travel, your astral body to travel throughout universes. And we know this to be true in ways because it's been documented in fictional movies as well as in factual accounts. So now I'd like for you to call your astral body back into your body. It is commanded that my astral body sit in my physical body, feet in my feet, knees in my knees, hips in my hips, shoulders in my shoulders, elbows in my elbows, hands in my hand, head in my glove, and it fits inside of me like a hand fits inside of a glove. And why do we want our astral body to snap back in our physical body? Because it keeps us present and aware, because it is the point of power. The way we were able to manifest and create is once all of this has come back together. That is known as our soul architecture. And let me gently remind you again, as you breathe with the rhythm of your body, that your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. Why? Because you commanded it to be so. Your higher self is sitting at a comfortable distance above your head. Your aura layer is 1.5 feet around you, 18 inches in diameter. Front, back, top, bottom, side to side. You're perfectly centered. Your astral body is snapped back into your physical body, and you are rooted, grounded into Mother Earth with the grounding cord that is 6 inches in diameter, clean, clear, filled with gold light, and connected to that heart chakra, ready to receive messages from Mother Earth. And your crown is open, making you a channel to receive messages from the divine as they are filtered through your higher self. Now, guess what? You're ready to pick up your phone and talk to God, or to infinite mind, infinite universe, because you're back into a place of neutrality. You're put back together. But we have one more step to do before we're ready for the world, and that is what is called running energy. We're going to clean out our spiritual body so that we can show up from a place of love, compassion, and forgiveness, not only for ourselves, but for our environment and the world at large, putting us in a state of creation and manifestation. So take a deep breath in, and I want you to create, visualize, or imagine the bottoms of your feet opening like the lens of a camera, your hands opening like the lens of a camera. And I want you to command Mother Earth to send in 15% Earth energy. Why can you command Mother Earth? Because you are made of the same essence she is. You are interconnected. So command, of course, with gratitude and humility, for 15% Earth energy of a color that resonates with you. Is it red for inspiration, motivation? Is it blue for healing and peace? Green for love and compassion? Yellow for personal power, laser focus? Pink for unconditional love? Whatever it is, bring in that Earth energy with a color that orange for creativity. Me, I'm bringing in red. Red for power, red for focus, red for motivation, red for manifestation. Bringing it in, letting it pool into the bottoms of my feet as it begins to fill up my feet. You feel it in Achilles' heel as it comes along the arch, the side of the foot, filling up the toes, coming up the crown. Then it begins to run up the medial and the lateral side channels of the leg as it moves past the ankles, coming up past the shins. It gets in the knees. It starts to mix into the meniscus, the patella, moving up past the femur as it comes up into the hips, and it starts to pool. Some of it begins to go down the grounding cord, and some of it begins to come into the middle of the feet, mixing back in with itself, and then filling up the middle gently. It's only 15%. As we let this work, we bring our awareness to the center of our head and our crown. As we see divine life force energy cascade down in waves through our crown as it begins to fill up the center of the head, moving out any doubt, any fear, any worry, just moving it out. And what it does is it just begins to fall into Mother Earth, turning into life force energy. We'll work with roses later. Just let this sludge fall away into Mother Earth, cleaning out the head as it moves down your sinuses, your adenoids, into your mouth, into your throat, getting that tongue, those teeth, those gums, cleaning out any disease, any illness in the eardrums, in the cranial cavity, as it then begins to focus the gold light, coming down that spine, lighting up each vertebrae on its way down, waking up that nervous system, moving out any disease, any illness as it comes down that vertebra, moving past the heart, the chest, the stomach, the liver, the spleen, the kidney, the gallbladder, the colon, mixing in with that earth energy, mixing in with that earth energy, filling you up like water fills up a cup, moving out any disease, any illness, as we bring our awareness to that heart chakra. And we allow for that essence there to begin to clean out any disease, any illness, any lack of love, any negativity, as that gold light mixing in with that earth energy just resolves and dissolves any negativity, as it then begins to drip down that channel into the first chakra, cleaning out any fear, any doubt, any worry, as the cleanliness moves down that grounding cord, any of that negativity, and it starts to just fill up with pure, clean gold light as it then moves up the channel to chakra 2, the orange, and it cleans out any negativity, any creative blocks, any type of sexual dysfunction, any type of you not translating, people not seeing you, any invisibility, working that out, moving out any negativity, any doubt, any fear, down that grounding cord as that second chakra becomes clean and clear, filled with gold light and the essence of creativity as we move up into the third chakra and we see this yellow energy, any negativity start to move down that grounding cord, being filled up with that gold light. It just cannot stay. It must be flushed down that grounding cord, moving you into a state of personal power, motivation, discipline, as that gold light just fills up the inside and the outside, the front and the back of that chakra, as we move back up into the heart, and love just starts to sprout out into the aura layer, out of your feet, hands, and crown chakra. Work it out. There's stuff coming in the feet and stuff going out of the feet. How's it working? All right. Cleaning out that heart as that love moves up into the channel of your throat, allowing you to speak your truth, own your power, speak with love, speak in a way that things get manifested, clean out any negativity, any lies, any exaggeration, anybody else's voices, ideas, and opinions, clean them out as that gold light just fills up your throat with love, with loving words, with loving thoughts, with just love, as that energy begins to move up into the center of your head, cleaning out any insanity, any type of delusions, any type of you giving away your power and your energy to anyone, cleaning out anybody telling you you're schizophrenic, bipolar, crazy, ADD, NEHD, whatever, all of these Ds, get them out of the head. You're sexist, you're racist, you're this, you're that. Clean it out. Clean it out. Let it fall away into Mother Earth and turn into positive, creative life force. As this energy moves down the grounding cord, it sprouts out of the brow. However you see it, just get the negativity out. Bring the gold light into your mind. See those neurons and those synapses firing with love all throughout your brain, and your mind is filled with love. Move out the negativity as this starts to sprout out of your crown. All of this beautiful gold light is just filling up your aura layer, cleaning you out of all your negativity, all of your worry, all of your doubt, all of your fear, all of the past that is holding you back. Getting rid of it, bringing in the gold light from the divine as it fills up your entire soul architecture, your physical body, your spiritual body, your emotional body. You are interconnected with gold light, divinity, and love. As you take a deep breath in, I now want to gently remind you that you are breathing with the rhythm of your body, and your heartbeat is synced up with your breath. You are rooted and grounded into Mother Earth with the grounding cord that is connected at the heart, 6 inches in diameter, clean and clear and filled with gold light. Your aura is 1.5 feet around you. Your higher self is above you. Your astral body is snapped in, and all your chakras are clean, clear, filled with gold light, and your aura layer is sparkling gold. All those pictures, those patterns, those programs, those past lives are resolved and dissolved as the Creator works to move out the karma, the negative karma, and bring in the positive future, the positive energy of interconnectedness, which allows for creativity and manifestation to have laser focus. This is how you tap in to your psychic ability. You put your soul architecture back together so that those messages from the higher self, that information from the astral body, Mother Earth, and the center of your head is all working together from a place of love to help you reach your goals and to assist you in being of service. So as you take a deep breath in and you bring your awareness back to your heart chakra, I'd like for you to close your brow like you would the lens of a camera. And then close your feet, hands, and crown chakras the same. Stop running energy. Close your feet chakras down, and Mother Earth energy goes back down. Close your crown as your higher self sits at a comfortable distance above your head. Check in on your aura layer, making sure you're 1.5 feet. It's 1.5 feet around you, and you're sitting in the center of it. And you're going to stay grounded and rooted at least for 72 hours. But you will have to keep doing this as a practice, which allows for you then to be connected so that you can receive those messages and those pictures from the divine, which we call psychic energy or clairvoyance, which we all have. Take a deep breath in. Bring your awareness to your heart. Give yourself a little bit of a shake, shaking off any excess energy. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes.
That was inspired. That was amazing. That was absolutely on point with the discussion points and the Gary Wimmer NDE psychic experiences. And honestly, I could feel it. I can still feel it now.
It's powerful meditation, but we're so in our being programming in our conditioning that to step outside of it scares us. So this is like a step-by-step process we can do to begin to tap in. Now, it is a practice. The same way you go to the gym every day to build those biceps is the same way you need to sit down and meditate and run energy and put your soul architecture back together. The more you do it, the more psychic you become.
I love it. It was beautiful. And I'm sure our community enjoyed it as well. So one final thing to say really today is that the weekly goes out tomorrow. It will include the edited version of this video, not that it takes an awful lot of editing, and we will be expanding on this a little bit further in terms of the points that we haven't had time to cover. I really, really value your engagement to the community. And again, I know we got another comment from Janet as well. Said, thank you, Jolie. I feel lighter. It's a gorgeous feeling. So there you go.
Thank you, Janet.
I know exactly how she feels.
Whenever you see me go off screen, I'm just having a drink of water, okay?
So yeah, but other than that, it's time to wrap up because we've kind of overrun our hour by a few minutes, but nevertheless, it was very, very worthwhile. And Jolie, I just want to say thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you. So we'll be here, same bat channel, same time next week.
Same bat torch fired into the sky so everybody can see it around the world and they'll know it's time. It's time to open up the link. Just click on the world's most interesting man and then you're with us. So flying by the seat of our pants. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jolie. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Any questions you have anywhere down the line, you can always reach us at elevatedplanet.life on the contact page, or you can get to me at johndrew@elevatedplanet.life. And I'm more than happy, or for either of us, we will answer your questions. And if you have any requests about what you'd like us to cover as well. Thank you. Thank you, Jolie. And thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, John.
Bye.